Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to polish a greenstone. We just got a batch of greenstones that just finished tumbling, and we're going to pull one out of the batch and polish it from start to finish. Back over here by our rock cutter, we've got this excellent batch of greenstones here. Find a good one, let me see it. That's excellent. Great pattern on it. Awesome. This is an older machine that we have here. It's got we replaced the motor on it. It's got a new ball door motor on it. And what we've got here on the left, we've got a 180 grit wheel. And then on the right, we've got a 600 grit wheel. And they're both the hard wheels. So get started. Got our water drip coming out of our bucket here. Well, right now what we're deciding is the top and bottom. Explain that to us a little bit.
So I basically look for what I think is going to be the best pattern. But this stone looks pretty good on either side, so I'm just going to start.
Okay.
First off, I like to get all of the sharp points off of it.
We're just switching sides here so we get a better view.
And I go until all the inclusions are out. So there's some small inclusions. And I'm pushing actually quite soft, and so I don't take much off, just until I get through the inclusions. That's a pretty good start. You notice that red basalt?
Yeah, I just saw that come off. Tell me what you're generally trying to do at this point.
Well, at this point, I'm just trying to get all of the the stone inclusion free.
So you're cutting out all of the pits and the undesired areas of the stone.
Without going through the pattern.
Okay, without going through the pattern. So what are you doing now? It looks like you're getting more of a shape.
A little shape, and there was some basalt. See the green basalt? Doesn't have any pattern, so I cut it out.
Okay. Looks like right now you're starting to decide what side is up.
Well, I haven't done this side yet. I think this entire stone could be polished, which I think I probably will polish the entire stone.
Okay.
See, I'm getting to some pretty good pattern, but there's a little bit of basalt on this outside edge here.
Yep.
There, see the pattern just started to come through, so I'll stop here because with the rest of the polishing,
you lose a little bit of depth on that.
I lose a little bit of depth. But with this wheel, I can get all of those dark inclusions out of there. That looks pretty nice.
Generally speaking, once you have all the inclusions out, the stone is starting to take shape a little bit. Is there a point where you decide which way the stone is going to be orientated?
Well, I have a flat spot on this stone naturally, so if this is going to be set in jewelry, this would definitely be the top.
Okay, yep.
Because this is already flat.
So that's already kind of a back already.
But this stone I'm going to polish both sides, and we can set this into a setting that is a two-sided.
So the setting would possibly reveal both sides.
Correct. What I have is just a small inclusion right there that I'm trying to get out.
Okay,
And I
pretty much have it.
I go really slow. And then there's a couple little inclusions here. And I'm only grinding on the inclusion.
So those inclusions, are they more like divots in the stone that aren't making contact with the wheel?
No, they're basalt.
Okay.
That's inside the stone, which...
So you're trying to eliminate that and still save the pattern at the same time?
Absolutely. See, and there's a couple of small little divots, which you can't see, but there's a small divot here and here that I'm going to get out. That's looking nice. Now, if you see, I got nice pattern on this half of the top, but not quite here yet. I got one small inclusion right there. And then there's some inclusion here that one more small one right there. All right.
So once you've gotten all the inclusions out, is this the time to start shaping the stone?
Now I start shaping.
Okay.
So to make a cabochon, I need to have it rounded, but I still have one more inclusion right there.
Okay, so we're still getting some of those pits out of this stone yet.
So if you wipe the water off, you can see that it's actually a small indentation.
So drying the stone certainly does help with identifying these
The small inclusions, yes. Because they will not take a polish if it's indented.
Because it's not making contact with the polishing.
All right, now I'm just rounding,
Okay.
taking all the sharp edges off.
Okay, and that part is just making the greenstone more of a pleasing shape. Is that correct?
And be able to set it.
Okay. So the shape serves more as a function too for bezel setting the greenstone. And in a proper cabochon, you're looking for somewhat of a shoulder, so that it comes up over the shoulder of the cabochon.
Now I'm putting very light pressure on this. I've done so many, I know how hard to push on it to get so I don't grind too much off.
So you're saying on this wheel you could push right through the pattern?
I could easily push through the pattern.
This wheel is somewhat aggressive. This is 180 grit, right?
Yes.
But it also allows you to get to that shape a little bit more quickly than you would on that 600.
I'm going to work a little bit on the bottom.
Okay. What are you doing now? Making it flat on the bottom?
Making it flat. Actually slightly domed. And I'm trying to get this is such a nice stone that I'm trying to get all of the imperfections off the bottom also. Alright, I'm going to switch to the 600.
So now you've got it mostly in the shape that you want. And you're ready to go to a little bit higher grit.
Correct. I'm going to switch over to the 600 grit, and what that does is it just refines everything and gets it ready to go on to the next step of polishing. So what I'm basically doing is going over top of the entire stone again. And it really smooths the stone out. kind of doing some fine tuning to the shape. What I saw in there was a real small inclusion that I didn't like, so I'm going to attempt to take it out. I like it. Make sure I have the shape a little bit little wider here than I am over here, so I'm going to take a little off.
You're just trying to establish a symmetrical shape now?
Correct.
Maybe as much as possible. I'm rolling this edge up nice so that when you bezel set it, the stone will hold in the setting. That's really important too. Instead of just polishing a stone, actually making a greenstone in the correct shape for setting. Giving you a shoulder to bezel set that greenstone.
Work a little bit on the bottom.
It's interesting, that back has a really nice pattern to it.
And I also like to tuck the edge of this stone just a little bit so that when you solder your bezel to it, you have a place for the solder to go and it still can sit flat.
How close are you to being done? Is this pretty much done on the hard wheels?
Pretty much done on the hard wheel. I'd like to take a little bit more off of this side because this is a little, it's not quite the same.
It's not symmetrical?
And with greenstones, I don't really know how important it is to be perfect. A lot of people like imperfection in the greenstone.
You mean more of a free-form shape?
More of a free-form shape.
Okay.
I have just a little bit more to go here.
It's not quite flat?
Not quite there yet. looks great. Off of this backside. Alright, that looks great. I hate to be picky, but there's one little spot right there that I'm going to get out. I like to have a greenstone that has no inclusions on the top, for sure.
No pits. Basically a perfectly flat, smooth top. Before you bring it to the polishing stages.
Correct. Now, just to see how it's going to set in the bezel, I will set this right up here, a flat surface, and roll it around to see how it's going to look. Now this nose is up just a little bit.
I see that.
So I'll take just a little bit off of that nose.
You mean off the bottom?
Off the bottom.
Bring the nose down?
To bring, correct. See how it's pretty much even, and I have a space underneath here for the solder to go, and this stone will sit flat inside.
I can see the difference from the first time it sat there.
The bezel. So we're ready to move on.
Okay, so I've got the stone over here, trying to get a good picture of it. It is wet. So there's the back. You can see a slight bezel space on the lower side of the cabochon rim, and that just makes it for a nice setting experience. And there's some flat spots yet on this, but that'll be taken out on the soft wheels. But what an outstanding greenstone. Okay, we're going to start over here. This is our star polisher, and this machine is quite old. This is at least a 50-year-old machine. The motor on it behind it, however, is a little newer than that. But we're going to get started here on polishing this awesome greenstone. So this is just a water drip fed machine, gravity drip. We've got our water tank above it. What grit are you starting out here to polish?
I'm starting out with 600.
Okay.
So I went from the hard 600 to the soft 600, and what the soft 600 does is take off all the flat spots that you will get when you use a hard grinder.
Okay.
So I'm still using very little pressure again, because I don't want this 600 to go through the pattern. I'm just softening up all of those hard edges.
Flat spots.
The flat spots that happen when you use a hard grinder.
So 600 soft belt's still very capable of moving through the pattern. You don't want to do that.
I have my pattern pretty much where I want it to stay, so I'm rounding up the stone.
So this is a finishing step past the hard 600.
And this establishes all of the nice soft round edges. And I normally would put this on a dop stick to hold it, but I want to polish the backside as I'm going also. Pretty happy with that. All right, now that I've gone over the 600 grit on the soft wheel,
Yes.
I have to dry it off so I can take a look at if there's any flat spots that I haven't rounded from the hard wheel.
So this is a very important step.
And I'm also looking to see if there's any pits that I missed in the first step. And this is actually a pretty smooth stone.
So if you miss something here,
This is where you can pick it up, is after you get on the soft wheel you can take a look. See, like this is just a little bit flat to me, so I'm going to round this a little bit more on the 600.
on the soft wheel or hard wheel?
On the soft wheel here.
Okay.
And
But overall you did pretty good.
overall it's looking pretty good, like I can continue on. And this bottom looks very nice, because when we do a exposed back for this stone, basically you're going to only see just the middle.
Well, it certainly looks really good. So we're going to clean up that one little spot.
I have one little spot here that I'm going to clean up,
Okay.
and then we'll move to the next step. Now, if I'd have had it on a dop stick, it would be easier for me to address some of those edges that I needed to address. Rounding these edges, you want to keep the stone moving at all times, or you will create another flat spot. to dry it off one more time and check for flat spots. This is the most important part of getting your stone finished. You want to, on that 600 soft wheel, you want to make sure you have it ready to move on to the next wheels, because then it makes the rest go really easy.
The steps after this.
The steps after this. If you don't have it ready to move on to the next step, you waste a lot of time on the 1200, which is next.
So you want this as perfect as possible before you move on.
And I can see that it's already very shiny, very flat, no pits.
Yeah, after you dried it off, it actually looks really polished almost.
So I'm ready to move on. All right, I'm moving on to the 1200 grit. I dry it off again. I dry it off in between each step so that I can check.
And what are you looking for after you've moved on to this step now?
Making sure that all my 600 scratches are gone.
So you're looking for a consistent sheen across the stone?
Correct.
And how do we look?
I look against the light. I let the light reflection go across the top of the stone.
And that assists you in seeing any imperfections?
It does. And this one's ready to move on to 3000. All right, moving on to 3000. Switching now to the 8000 grit. This goes on to a 8-inch expandable drum. All right, moving down to the last step. This is 50,000 diamond belt. Diamond belts polish very, very fast.
So each step, how long are you looking at on this particular greenstone? About a minute and a half?
Well, your 600 is the longest because you have to make sure that it's perfect all the way across, and then it goes really pretty fast after that. But you're right, probably like 2 minutes on each step. The 50,000 polish, I do a little longer. It polishes it up really quite nice if you work at it nice.
So when we get done right now, this is it.
This is done.
The completely finished greenstone.
You can already see the light picking up off of it, the scintillancy.
Yeah, it's looking very, very nice. Oh, the back looks great too.
When I move it up and down the drum, it changes the angle that I can get.
So that's a technique.
It's a technique in keeping your edges rounded.
So you just dropped that. I noticed that you washed it off before you put it back on your wheel.
Well, I don't know what's down in this pan,
Yeah.
and I just don't want it on the 50,000 polish, so I
Right.
just wash it off.
So it could contaminate the wheel.
Well, it could contaminate your polish, putting scratches where you don't want it to be. Because the water actually keeps this belt pretty clean. All right, one more time around and that's it.
That looks terrific.
There we have it.
Wow. Here's our finished greenstone. It's really looking good. It's got a nice shape to it. Beautiful polish. Just a beautiful greenstone. Wonderful job. Let's take a look at the back a minute. So that's the back of this greenstone. Really turned out great.